welcome back to my channel. According to lots of style gurus, a white summer dress is a must-have for your wardrobe. So I decided to make one, and I have a pretty clear idea what I'm going for. The design I picked is going to be a very cute, roughly feminine kind of style, and this is the sketch I came up with. For fabric, I'm going to use a white bedsheet / double cover, as the fabric from bedsheets is usually a lot cheaper than what you can get at a fabric store. As usual, all the supplies will be linked in the description underneath the video, so if you want to support my channel without any extra costs on your part, you can purchase your supplies via those links. Now let's get started with the dress. Since I'm using a double cover for my fabric, I'm first going to rip it all apart so I get one length of fabric. As usual, I'm going to start with the skirt of my dress, and for that, the first thing you want to figure out is how long you want it to be. As I'm going to have 3 tiers of ruffles, you'll then want to divide the length of your skirt by 3 and add seam allowance. Once you've figured out the width of your panels, we're going to cut one panel 150 centimeters long, one that's 2 meters long, and one that's 4 meters long. Or if you don't have enough fabric for that, you can piece two 2-meter panels together, which is what I had to do as well. If necessary, assemble your longest panel and then hem the entire bottom edge of that longest panel, as that's going to be the bottom hem of your skirt. While I do that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video if you're enjoying it so far. Next, you want to gather the top part of that panel using the widest possible stitch on your sewing machine and gather it up until it fits the second panel. Pin those right sides together and sew. Now I'll gather the top of the second panel, and again we're going to gather it until it fits the shortest panel we have. We will then sew those together as we did before. Time for the shirring, which will make the bodice adapt to our bodies and give it this very nice ruffly surface. So I hand wound my elastic onto my bottom thread bobbin, and the top thread will stay as it is. For the bodice, you're going to cut one rectangle twice the circumference of your upper body and long enough to cover you from waist to where you want the neckline to be. Make sure to add seam allowance as well. Now, with my stitch length set to the highest value, same as if we were to gather something, we will sew several rows across the bodice, spacing them around 1 or 1.5 centimeters apart. Then sew your bodice into a tube. Next, we'll need to attach the skirt to the bodice. To do that, we're going to gather the top edge of the skirt slightly until it fits the width of our bodice, and we'll attach it about 1 centimeter below the lowest shirring line. That way it will look as if the shirring continued right through into the skirt. It's now also time to sew up the back of your skirt, matching up the seams as you go. For the shoulder ruffle, I created a loop of fabric that had twice the circumference of my shoulders and hemmed the bottom edge. I then folded the top edge around the raw edge of my bodice around the top and lined up the centers. I then sewed it in place with a 2 cm seam allowance, creating a channel for the elastic and encasing the raw edge of the bodice top. Thread an elastic on a safety pin and thread it through the casing you've just created. And here is the finished dress. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing to our free newsletter to get access to our free downloadables and resources. I'll see you next time.